Everyone, welcome back to a North Texas Weather Center forecast, and today what we'll be going over is that potential for a severe weather outbreak later this afternoon across North Texas. This will be a video to break down everything that you know from what threats that we're going to see, the timing, and also potential for maybe a little bit more severe weather tomorrow morning, and we'll go over that as well later in this forecast. So let's just get started with what we're looking at right now, and we'll go ahead and look at the other stuff as well for tomorrow. But as of right now, the temperatures this morning are in the 70s. That's as about 7 in the morning, right around when this forecast gets uploaded. It's going to be in the low 80s. So it'll be pretty nice out there. Cap will break this afternoon. You can see temperatures well into the 80s. 80s are going to be plenty for that cap to break, so that's when we're going to see those storms develop. I would expect most of the storm development to be down to our southwest, primarily areas like near Stephenville and as well as southeast of Cleburne. Those areas are probably going to have the best shot for some storms as early as 2 to 3 o'clock this afternoon. That's where the cap will likely break quicker. Storms will eventually move into the Metroplex this evening. You can see the temperatures will drop into the low 70s when those storms arrive. All right, here's the sounding data from 7 this morning. So this is kind of give you an idea of, this is a very complicated look at what a sounding is, but just kind of look at the left and kind of look at this little temperature bar here. So it's 75 degrees at the surface as of about 7 in the morning in DFW. You can see the cap right here. It's very prominent. I mean, it's a very prominent cap right here, right around about 2,000 or 3,000 feet up in the atmosphere. And you very well see that there's a cap in the atmosphere, so we're not going to be able to see storms develop right now. There could be a couple of isolated elevated showers over the cap this morning, or maybe even a storm, but those will not be strong. Those are not very concerning typically, but that's just something to keep in mind. This cap will obviously be overcome this afternoon by the temperatures, so that'll just be something to keep in mind. All right, here's your severe weather outlook for this afternoon. An enhanced risk of severe weather does exist for all of DFW. That includes all of the DFW Metroplex. It no longer includes Oklahoma, which is quite interesting, but I am not surprised by that, but originally it was included in enhanced risk. Now it's just areas in DFW and some counties bordering the Red River Valley, kind of on the edge there of the enhanced risk. And there's also a slight risk for anyone else, and then a marginal risk for very far west North Texas. There's a potential for hail tonight, and that seems like it's going to be the main threat for this evening. You can see that we'll have a pretty significant threat for hail. That means that we could see in that anywhere in the hatched area potential for up to tennis ball sized hail this evening. So make sure that you are taking the proper precautions just in case you see hail in your location. Bring your car into your garage, cover it over, whatever you got to do. Take those proper precautions before this evening hits. Also, if you do have any car damage tomorrow, make sure to check out Jimmy All Dents Repairs link down below, and as well as Platinum Contracting. Both of them can help you out if there's any hail damage or wind damage tonight. All right, and also anyone in that red shaded area has a 30% chance of hail within a 25-mile radius. So even if you don't see significant hailstones, you could at least see potentially quarter-sized, maybe even golf ball-sized hail as well in that area. So not everybody again will see it, but that's just something to keep in mind. You might see some hail tonight. Just make sure that you are taking the proper precautions. Damaging wind threat has been increased from yesterday, so you can see that 30% probability within the 25-mile radius of anywhere in DFW again, and that does include the Waco region as well. Tornado threat is not changed from yesterday, so this is an unchanged variable at this point. We have a low-end tornado threat. It still exists. A couple to maybe 3 or 4 tornadoes could happen tonight. It'll just strictly depend on how many storms we see this evening and kind of see how widespread they are. All right, here's a look at the future radar. So right around 4 o'clock, as I said before, a couple of isolated showers or storms that are elevated over the cap could occur this afternoon, or even closer to the late this morning. A couple of storms will start to develop back down to our southwest. By 5 o'clock, these storms really explode. Large hail probably going to be the main threat initially with these storms. By 6, they start to move into DFW Metroplex. By 7, you can see several storms lining up here across DFW all the way down to Waco. And again, I would expect the worst threat to actually be south of I-20 today, but there will definitely be a threat here in DFW, so just keep that in mind. 8 o'clock, these storms start to move across the Red River, off to the north, then some storms back off to the east and as well as down to the south, producing potentially very large hail and damaging wind gusts. A tornado threat still exists, but it's pretty low today. Going to the 9 o'clock, you can see those storms move out to our east, and eventually we will dry out this evening, and we will probably stay dry up until about 6 or 7 tomorrow. We might see a couple of storms develop across a line, which could also be severe, and we'll get to that now because we have a little risk of severe weather for tomorrow. Not everybody's included in this. Eastern DFW is in a marginal risk. Eastern North Texas is included in a slight risk, and enhanced risk exists well back off to the east, basically bordering Louisiana, Texas, and as well as Arkansas. Main threats tomorrow will be damaging winds up to 60 miles per hour and maybe some quarter-sized hail for tomorrow morning. And that would be primarily for eastern DFW. I would not expect much of a threat anywhere else in DFW. Going to the future radar, a few storms will develop, as I kind of said before, around 7 in the morning. A little line develops, and these storms will eventually move out to the east, primarily posing the threat for damaging winds, but definitely large hail can't be ruled out. Though now the computer model here does show there might be a few storms that do develop closer to Paris tomorrow afternoon. Can't rule it out, but it's not really in our coverage area. And secondly, it's probably not going to be much of a threat here to DFW anyways. So just kind of keep that in mind. There might be a couple of storms if you're in northeastern Texas tomorrow afternoon. And yeah, that's basically it. Make sure to stay up there with the North Texas Weather Center for the latest on Facebook, YouTube, and as well as Instagram. Subscribe here on our YouTube channel. Follow us on Facebook. We will be keeping you updated throughout the afternoon. I will try to go live if needed, but we'll see what happens. Check out our sponsors as well. As I said before, Platinum Contracting, All Dents Repair. If you have any sort of roofing or car dent needs, check them both out. Their phone numbers are on the screen. And as well as Birdie's Pro Turf. If you need any landscaping needs, make sure to check out Birdie's Pro Turf.